Dude, it's official.
What?
But the Stars will be in the Stanley Cup Finals. First time 20 years. 20 years, dude. I'm
Yeah,
pumped.
we were like 6 years old when that happened.
Yeah,
Maybe
6,
five.
7, something like that. 6, I think, was when we won it last because we won it in 99 and then we lost in 2000.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So they made it 2 years in a row.
yeah, we went to that. Dude, we had like a stacked squad in like the late 90s. Like 2000 was like the last year that we really had that team together. That was when we had Darian Hatcher on the team. We had like Sergei Zubov, Mike Modano,
Yeah.
Joe Newendike, Yuri Lettinen, Brendan Morrow. Dude, just names. You could just just keep naming them. That team was stacked. And then Darian Hatcher was a beast too. He just knocked the shit out of people the
Was
entire time.
and is that the same? Is that the same team that was the Minnesota North Stars that they moved over to Dallas around that year?
No, like one of the only few players from that team that was still on it by that point was Modano. He got
Okay.
drafted in 92, 93, something like that.
Okay. Gotcha.
And they relocated the team in 93. And then
Gotcha.
it took 6 years for him to.
So they've been in Dallas as long as we've been alive, then, huh?
Yes, the franchise in Dallas is as old as we are. It was really weird because I didn't realize it. It's weird because I've been such a big hockey fan, but I didn't realize it until their 25th year. Um, I went to a game and they were doing like a lot of like promotional stuff for 25 years, and I was like, damn, like we're the same age. Like, what's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Heck
But
yeah.
yeah, dude, I'm so pumped, man. It's gonna be such a good series. The Stars are playing really, really well
So
right
is
now.
Tampa is so I haven't kept too much up with hockey, but
Hmm.
I remember last year Tampa was really good, and then they like blew it in the first round.
Hmm.
Is that right?
That is correct. So last year was weird because every single number one seed got beat out in the first round, and every wild card team advanced because of that.
Well, and
How
that's
crazy
what
is that?
that is crazy. And because I remember watching Tampa, maybe just randomly I was watching them, and they were like they literally lightning. Like they were like passing the puck like just back and
Hmm.
forth. They were like, in Miracle when they talk about they're like the Russians. They don't find a man; they find an open patch of ice. That's what they look like, and then they got beat out in the first round. So
Yeah, that's. I mean, dude, that's basically what's going on with them. They are really fast. And like you said, like they throw the puck, they'll throw the puck to open ice, and like a guy will end up being there type deal.
yeah,
Like they've got a really good team chemistry. They've kind of kept together for quite a while. The Lightning have been on like a good run. They've always just seemed to come up short in the playoffs.
yeah,
As of lately. Um, but no, dude, they're a good team. I think, dude, the Stars though. I think that I think we have a little bit of an edge because Tampa is a very similar team to
hmm
Vegas. Um, and I think that we'll carry in the same approach we had with Vegas, which was a bend but don't break per se. Basically, like obviously they're gonna get their offensive chances, like in tonight's game where they just beat the Islanders to advance. They had like 45 shots. They're gonna get a lot of shots. They're gonna get pucks to the net. The main thing is you just got to get them um, to be taking shots from distance, from the outside. You want them like at the point up on the blue line there, or like off from the board, stuff like that. You don't want to give them a whole lot of like one-time opportunities. Just
yeah,
lots of far shots, not a lot of people screening the goalie.
yeah.
Just that
I mean,
that type of game, and then just kind
it's
of counter it.
it's the same mentality for like a team that in basketball that you're like, they take it to the hoop every time. You want to keep them from
Yep.
penetrating the perimeter, leaving them on the perimeter.
Yeah.
Problem is when you
They're like
get
the
guys like
team you're
Steph
okay
Curry.
with giving up the 3-2. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah, exactly, same
it's
thing.
like you can beat me that way, but and if you do, I'll shake your hand when we're done with that type
Yeah,
deal.
yeah. And then they
But
run into the Steph Currys of the world, and then you lose.
yeah, and then at that point, there's nothing you can do. The
But
first game is going to be on Saturday night at 6:30 Central Time, 7:30 Eastern. So I'm
I'll be
pumped about
I'll
that.
be
That
tuning
one
in at
good,
work.
yeah, dude. One good thing is we'll have a couple days of rest. Tampa's going from playing tonight, and then they're gonna have to turn around again and play on Saturday. Um, I'm hoping to see that like Jamie Benn does what he has been doing. He dude, he's just kind of been energizing the team, just kind of coming up with the big hits when you need them, big goals when you need them, kind of getting the team going. Whenever we clinched the other night and to advance, he was the one that scored. He scored the first goal to kind of get everything going when there was like 10 minutes left in the game, and then they scored again. I think with like a little under 5, and then it forced overtime. So should be a good series.
So I was watching the Golden Knights and all that, and then I get what was the series before the Golden Knights? It was
Colorado.
Colorado, right?
Yeah.
Who? So what was the team that that I can't think of his name. He played 13 years for the Sharks, right?
Oh, Joe Pavelski.
Yeah, Pavelski, man,
Yeah.
he seems like he's really up to his I feel like he's up their offense a little bit, playing like just kind of like brought us that veteran
100%.
status.
Yeah, dude, he's definitely providing that for the Stars right now. They actually didn't get I mean, they got decent production out of him in the regular season, but dude, he, like you said, he's just taking it to a whole nother level in the
Well,
playoffs.
it's the same thing as like when the Mavericks were in the finals in 2011, we didn't get a lot of production out of Jason Terry in the
Mhm.
season, and then the
Yeah.
finals came around and the playoffs came around, and he didn't
And he played
miss.
like a superstar.
Yeah,
He became every kid's favorite player just at that point because
yeah.
he had the headband and would make the three and then do the little
Do the little
jet
jet.
move down the
Yeah,
yeah, and he became everybody's favorite player damn near.
but it's the same thing. Like, so there's some there's got to be something psychological to that because you think about that. Think about like even the NFL, like a Ben Roethlisberger or a Tom Brady. The Patriots typically do really well in the regular season, regardless. But with Tom Brady, but like you see those guys, they really ramp it up in the playoffs because they've left it all on the line in the regular season and fell short before, so they know
Yeah.
that they can at least make the playoffs. They're gonna ramp it up in the playoffs, but you've got to have a mixture because if you don't ramp up enough in the regular season, you're not ready for the playoffs. So there's like a balance there, but you always see those older vets that have seen a couple finals or they've been in the championships that they tend to step it up in the in the playoffs because they have those nerves of steel at that point. It's not new to them.
Yeah. And dude, what's crazy, talk about stepping up in the playoffs, just another crazy story about the Stars. They've got a player right now, his name's Yoel Kiviranta. He's I believe he's rookie. He doesn't play much from the Stars. He's part of like our reserve lineup right now that we have up in the bubble because they
Mhm.
let you take a couple extra players. So if like anybody gets Rona or hurt or anything like that, you have guys that you can fill in with. This
Mhm.
guy, 2019 regular season, the entire or 2019-2020 season, he only played 11 games. He had 1 goal. His plus minus was -1.
Mhm.
Um, that was all he played regular season.
Mhm.
Um, he had not played a single playoff game until Game 7
Mhm.
of the second round.
Mhm.
Or no, he had to have played before then, but he hadn't played. He hadn't been an impact in any game until then.
Right.
Game 7, he comes in. Um, drops a hat trick on him. Game 7, uh,
Jeez.
scored the overtime game winner. Like insane. Just
I think I saw
he
that.
in 8 games played. He's played in 8 games this playoffs.
It's like a
Um,
it's like a video game, like
he's
Micro
got
creative
four.
player.
He's got 4 goals, 1 assist, and 5 points, plus minus 5.
Dang.
Like it's insane. Like that he's doing that. He's only 24 years old too.
He's producing.
Yeah, and I mean it just came out of nowhere. He filled in for an injured player, but
Man, I love watching the Stars. Like they always talk about how the Stars are like, they're not making a profit or anything like that.
yeah,
But man, they have a hell of a setup for a team.
yeah.
We just
A lot of hockey teams don't turn a profit, surprisingly.
probably Canadian ones
Um,
do.
oh, 100%, 100%. They've got like they got coliseums that those teams are playing in.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's like that's their national pastime. So,
yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
that's like football for them. So,
Yeah, but no, I think the Stanley Cup's going to be a good matchup. Tell you one thing that I don't think is going to be a good matchup.
it's
You've
the,
been following this Mike Tyson shit,
oh, yeah. Oh, poor Roy Jones Jr.,
dude.
man.
Roy Jones Jr. about to go down, man.
So, I really sincerely hope um, that you always see these training videos, and they're using Tide pads, and
Hmm.
Mike Tyson's hitting. He's
Yeah.
he's striking well. He's striking fast. I sincerely hope though with his age, if he gets hit, I hope he doesn't just go
Yeah.
down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm worried about that. That's what I'm
Like
worried about with this fight. Either one of them, really, because they're both old.
yeah.
But
So
Mike
that's what
Tyson,
makes it a little better. Because
I think,
if he hits you,
yeah,
I pray for Roy Jones Jr. too,
I pray
man.
for whoever he hits. We saw how he did Zach Galifianakis whenever he stole
Yeah,
his
yeah.
his damn
But
tiger.
Well,
You know.
I always think about the old people fights, and I think about Chuck Liddell getting hit on the button too many times,
Hmm.
and he wasn't the same man. He would hit people hard, but if
Yep.
you can't hit the other person and they hit you, you're done. Like that's the problem. So
Yeah.
Roy Jones Jr. was a good fighter back in the day. I mean, he was no Mike Tyson. I don't think anybody was,
No.
but
I don't even
Mike
think he is
Tyson,
close to what Mike Tyson's doing right now, dude. Like just watching his training video, like I'm not worried about Mike Tyson. Like I feel like even at this age, he can probably take a punch. I'm sure Roy Jones Jr. can too, but I don't know if he can from Mike Tyson. I was watching these training videos
yeah,
whenever whenever you'd hit me up about Mike Tyson, in the Roy Jones Jr. fight. I was like, oh okay, and I started looking into it. I
yeah,
was seeing these training videos from Mike Tyson. I was like, Jesus, dude, he
yeah,
doesn't look like he's lost a step, man. And
yeah.
then he's cut down like he's in crazy good shape. Like if you look at him, he came back and did another episode on Rogan's podcast. If you
hmm
look at him in the first episode
hmm
and then turn around and look at him in the second episode, just
yeah,
I mean this is like maybe a year apart that he did
yeah,
these episodes with him.
yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
he's just crazy, dropped into crazy shape
And
and
he's
just
always
looks like he's
been.
not missing a beat.
You know what? I always thought, like before I really paid attention to combat sports, 'cause I love combat sports. Like it's one of my favorites, favorite things to watch, like MMA, obviously UFC stuff. But I like Bellator. I like all of them. And I don't like boxing as much because I feel like it's so down the rig, like it's just rigged as shit. But I love Mike
100%.
Tyson, and I always thought Mike Tyson was a lot bigger than he is. Like the way you watch videos and he just annihilates people, and he's short.
Hmm.
He doesn't have the insane reach like some of those heavyweight guys do, and he just obliterates them. He turns boxing matches that are marathons essentially into a sprint.
Yep.
Because you always say like, oh, Muhammad Ali's the greatest ever. Muhammad Ali would go the distance with these guys. He'd go 12 rounds. I mean, he would go until that's why he was punch drunk and Parkinson's and all that stuff. Like
Yep.
Mike Tyson didn't get hit, man. He wasn't in the ring long enough.
Yep.
Like he
And,
was, he would go toe to toe and leave it all on the line.
and you say he's small, but like the thing with him is he's so quick
Yep.
that even though he's small, he can eliminate your reach in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah, he
Like
just closes the
boom,
distance.
two, close it,
Yep.
done. Boom, 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 in
Well,
and out. Boom, boom,
and if
boom.
you watch him, he goes for that liver shot, that body shot,
Hmm.
and he comes back over the top with that right hand,
Yeah, because he's gonna
and
hit
that's
you with that
lethal.
liver shot, crumple you a little bit, and then as you crumple, he's gonna clock you
Boom,
right in the
come over the
dome.
top, and
Yeah,
that's a good bar fight mood too. Somebody
yeah.
wants to fight you. That's how you get them.
I should have kept that move in my back pocket
Yeah,
back
yeah,
in the
yeah.
Merce.
The slow motion punch.
Yeah,
We won't go into that.
yeah. A swing and a miss.
That's funny. No, but so what's the date for that fight? I haven't.
I'm not sure.
Let me see.
It's supposed to be it's an exhibition fight, obviously, but I don't know when
Well,
it's.
yeah, they're
They
looking
need
to
to.
make some money.
I think they need to.
November 28th. So it's like the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Dude, this year's been crazy. It's going by so fast.
Yeah, you think about the summer, man. Like it's already like 60 degrees out here, and the summer went by so fast. Like
Yep.
I can't remember a summer that's gone by even remotely this fast. Just
Hmm.
looking back on it, all the craziness. I think we just got so distracted with all
Dude,
whatever's
the
going
whole
on.
year, man, it's been just crazy. I feel like the whole year. I
Yeah.
mean, just take it month by month here. And what was it? January.
hmm
Shoot a missile at home dude in the Middle East.
Yep.
I don't remember his name, but he was
Yep.
Iraq. He was Iraq like something defense person
It was so they killed the
or Iran.
Iranian general. Yep.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. So you had that happen.
And then you had like
Um,
a possible war because they shot a missile into an Iraqi
yeah.
forward operating base. Yep.
So you kind of had like a it kind of had like a, I don't want to completely say like a Cold War feel, but a little bit for like January, February, a little bit, you
Yeah,
know?
we didn't know what was going to happen.
Like, yeah, we were like kind of in limbo, and then everything kind of settled down. But that's because everybody basically forgot about that because COVID started coming through.
Yep.
Everything started shutting down in March.
Yep. Yeah.
Then
I remember that game the Mavericks were playing, and then Mark Cuban got that text message saying that the NBA had been canceled, and the pure like shock on his face, and
yeah,
then
he was like no way, you
and
know, like
that was the last of sports for when did they start back up in what June maybe?
yeah, June-ish. I will say, speaking of like starting back up, like just looking at the way each different league has like handled it, um dude, like hockey has been hella good. They've I think they said they've administered over 25,000 COVID tests to the players and staff throughout the time of the bubble. They haven't
Mm-hmm.
had one single positive case.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And they
they did it
like
smart, right? They
yeah,
did
you got
two.
people dipping out of the bubble and going to strip clubs and stuff.
They had two bubbles, right? The NHL,
I think so. I think
one
so,
on the
yeah.
East Coast and one on the West Coast.
Something like that. Yeah, cuz
Yeah,
I want to say the Eastern Conference was playing in a different stadium,
yeah, they were.
but
The NFL though,
cuz that's
the
the only way
last
they could have made those all those games work, I
I
feel
think
like.
the NFL has kind of done a really good job at making it work
Yeah.
as is.
Yeah, I like the way the NFL's doing it because it's kind of like they're leaving it up to the teams, you know,
Yeah,
on kind of
yeah,
like, hey, you know, protect your players, but do what you feel is best because it's like they
yeah,
know that each team is in a different part of the country and each different part of
yeah,
the country is reacting differently, right?
yeah. The way
So
I
like
look
your
at it is
teams
like,
in Florida, there's not a lot of restrictions there right now, right? So the teams in Florida can kind of get away with stuff. Same with like in Texas, they're starting to lift our restrictions here on the 21st. Restaurants and stuff like that can go up to 75% capacity.
well, think about this: the NFL,
A lot of places been violating that shit though. I ain't gonna lie.
everybody's been violating. But you think about
I went to a bar last week and it was packed, dude.
the NFL, and playing football when you're wearing a helmet
Hmm.
with a face mask. Why
Yep,
can't you just put like a plastic sheet behind the face mask?
that's true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like those I always call them the pacifier mouthpieces,
Oh yeah, the
the
ones that
big
have the little
ones.
outside little
Yeah,
part
just
on
wear
it.
those.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like sorry if you don't like it, but like I don't know.
yeah.
And then like to me, like the weirdest thing is the whole NCAA thing. You know, the SEC still playing, the ACC still playing, the Big 12 still playing,
The
and then you have
Pac-10
random.
supposed to be meeting to discuss if they want to resume later because they originally were like they canceled their season, and I
well,
think they're seeing
the
now that like other places are playing still, and then they're seeing that like a lot of places numbers are going down, stuff like that. So they, I think it's the Pac-10. They were talking about doing like possibly starting back up late in the season.
so I haven't heard anything about the Pac-12 yet, but the Big
Or
Ten,
Pac-12, yeah,
yeah,
Big Ten is maybe what.
Pac-12, yeah,
Maybe
Big Ten.
I'm mixing them up here.
The Big Ten, the Big Ten actually is reinstating, and they're gonna start playing either next week or in a couple of weeks. So basically, what happened was the big fish is Ohio State, right? Like they're the
Hmm.
best, obvious, best Big Ten team. And basically, what I was reading is that there was like a lawsuit that was going out that Ohio State was threatening to sue the Big Ten for not allowing them to play or something like that. And turns out, like all of a sudden, they're wanting to play. So,
Uh,
um,
follow the money. That's what you got to do in every instance. Follow the money.
but then you look at this, dude. So I've been watching. I watched like I finally finished the fifth season of Ballers,
Hmm.
and like the fourth and fifth season, they talk a lot about the NCAA being corrupt,
Yeah.
and The Rock kind of goes toe to toe with the NCAA, and they're like, you're gonna flirt with the biggest, most powerful, corrupt institution in sports, and he's like, absolutely. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, you know, I'm watching the NFL, and I see Nick Saban on a commercial for Aflac. And I was like, oh, it's kind of funny commercial or whatever. Then I started thinking about it. I'm like, how messed up is it that Nick Saban is getting paid exponentially more than the players because the players aren't technically getting paid. We know they are, but he's getting paid, $8 million a year, $10 million a year, and he's allowed to be on commercials and make money on sponsorships, but his players aren't.
Yeah, that's
Just
yeah,
tell me
I
how
agree
messed up that is. And
that
so when I was in college, I was on the opposite end. I was like, oh, there's no way these colleges will survive if you can't pay the players and all these things. But then I thought,
very well.
what about the top 25 football teams? you know, um, how is it fair that they can't even make money on their own likeness? How is it fair that they can't go on YouTube and start a YouTube channel and make money off of it, with highlights and things like that? But the school can make money off of it and not give a
Exactly.
percentage to that player. I don't think that
Yeah.
they should get paid a salary. I think that if they have the ability to make money off of their person, they should be able to
Mhm.
do that. And I
Correct.
think they passed it to where they can now. So,
And I believe there's like stipulations to it though, like the players won't just outright get that money like right away. From what I believe,
which
I
is
believe
which
I
is
believe it goes
stupid.
into I believe it goes into like a trust account for whenever they finally leave school.
But think about this, man. Like
They
some of
need that
these,
money now. A lot of these dude, if they have
yeah,
enough clout through playing football that they are going to get all these endorsements in college, they're probably going to the pros. They're not going to need that money when they graduate because they're going to sign $1 million contract then.
yeah,
When they
yeah,
will need the money is when they're broke and starving in college because Alabama ain't giving them shit but a meal
yeah, yeah. And
plan.
well,
Like
and depending on the player,
a meal
the,
plan and a general studies education. A lot of the
to
time they major
yeah.
in something bullshit.
Well, and to be
Not
fair,
all of
like
them. So for people that were college athletes, I know some of y'all actually major in
to be fair
complicated shit.
though, like some of these guys though, man, they are getting paid, like, and we know they are. They're just getting paid in more secretive ways, but they're not
Yep.
getting paid what they
Refund
deserve.
checks.
Well, they don't get paid what they're deserved, and
Yep.
especially like those D linemen, those O linemen, those receivers going across the middle, those quarterbacks just standing ducks, sitting ducks there, and
Hmm.
those guys don't get paid enough. And um, we had a running back in one of my classes, Joe Bergeron, and he's like talking about his body, and he's like, who's gonna pay me for that? Because if I don't make the league, all that stuff. And I was like, man, at the time, I was like, I don't know if I agree, but looking back on it, I'm like, man,
Yeah.
hey, this guy's good
Dude, it
enough
was
to be a
it was a
top athlete.
even if you go
Doesn't
to
make
like a
sense.
D2 school like where we were at, I mean, it's a full-time job, man. Like
Yeah,
it like you between practice,
film,
workouts, film, workouts,
yeah,
practice, films. Then
class.
you got to go to class.
Yeah, because commerce, you
Uh,
have to go to class.
yeah, yeah. D2 schools, man, you're going to class. It's not like I mean, I'm not saying that all D1 programs do it, but I'm sure at D1 big ass schools, I'm sure some of these dudes ain't really going to class.
Yeah,
Or they're in online classes and it's like something that's just easy that they can coast through type deal. And even if they are going, they've got all the tutors lined up in the world for them. They've got all the resources to pass their class if possible. At like commerce, like they've got study hall and you go to class, you go to practice. When you're done with practice, you go do your homework, study film, work out. Like, because I remember, dude, that's kind of one of the, I don't know if it's the reason, but like I remember whenever we were roommates with like dude he wouldn't be he'd get home at 8 9 o'clock at night, you know
yeah.
um either studying because he didn't have film session that night or practice that night or workout or whatever, or he was doing one of those other activities. And he'd like if you I mean they don't have time to go make money off them getting a job because they're constantly doing football, so they got to find some way to pay those guys while they're there.
Yeah,
And
and
even at small schools, man, they can even make a little bit of money off their likeness. Probably not like those of like a big, program, but I mean, think about it. We had a little Hibbits in commerce, right? I mean, who's to say that the running back doesn't get an endorsement deal to, go around the school and, promote it or something like that, or put him up on a billboard right outside the school that says shop there or something like that. And they pay him a couple $100 to do it. Like, it's not a lot, but something.
there's a documentary called "Schooled: The Price of College Sports," and it talks a
Hmm.
lot about it talks a lot about University of North Carolina and how they were, being investigated for how they were doing school and stuff like that. And basically what it was these guys were taking like a a degree, say like Native American studies or American studies or African studies, and basically what they were doing was they were they like 4 projects for the semester for a class, and then they would do this project, turn it in, and then get 100 on it, or get a 90 on it, or get a B on it, or a C, or whatever the designated grade was, no matter what the quality of it was. And they were never going to class, but they were online, quote unquote, but it just wasn't up to snuff, right?
Yep.
And they really couldn't prove anything. It's hard to prove because they're doing the work technically, right? So it just kind of puts the integrity of the system into question.
Yep.
And
And
the
then
way I look at it is like, it, it's always going to be that way.
yep.
You have guys that are they're going outside of their league when it comes to going to school, and I mean, is what it is. Like some of these guys have no business being at these schools. GPA wise or SAT scores, ACT scores,
Yep.
but they're there for football. And what do you expect from this dude? Like he's there to play football. He's not there to go to school.
Yeah.
And the same
Exactly.
goes for the one and done guys, like the Duke, Kentucky guys.
I
Yeah,
think they
you're
just need to get rid of that rule. The whole one and like I don't get what 1 year of college does for them at all. Like just let them go straight from high school. I get um the NFL, like you got to at least go to your junior year per se, because you can at least get like an associate's when you do that. But a year you don't get anything accomplished in college in a year, really.
unless you had prior, credits. But like
Yeah, of course, but yeah,
my thing is if I'm an NBA prospect and I really want to be really good and test my skills, I'm I don't know.
well,
I'm probably foregoing school and going to Europe.
well, yeah, I don't. But well, think about this. Think about Zion Williamson, right? He plays 1 year and he's done
Mm-hmm.
at Duke. Think about this though. All he really had to do is just pass his classes fall semester. He ain't got to do shit in class on spring semester
Do
because
you
by the
really think
time
he
his
has to
he
pass his classes? He didn't even have
well,
to pass his
I'm
classes.
just saying though. But what I'm saying is like he won't lose eligibility because
Right.
he's not staying there for longer than a year. So it's like
Right.
this. Do they even go to class anyways? I wouldn't.
Well,
I'd
and
be focused. But like you said though, go to Europe or go to Australia. That's there was a top prospect this last year. I think it was last
hmm
year,
hmm
from Little Elm, right down the street from me, and he decided not to go to college. He's playing in Australia.
well, that's what. Remember Emmanuel Mudiay?
Yeah.
He was supposed to go to SMU and he ended up going overseas. Now, I mean, he hasn't done great since he's been in the NBA, but like, if you look at guys like Luka Doncic has brought legitimacy to the Euro leagues.
Yep.
You know,
And he's been playing professionally since age what 16.
yeah, and think
Because you
about
can
this,
play
dude.
that early as a pro. Like
Think about this. Luka's in his second year. He made NBA All NBA first team top 5 player in the league.
Jesus.
You look at the company he's with: LeBron James, Anthony
Hmm.
Davis, James Harden,
Yep.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. Right? Those are his. That's his company.
Yeah.
Luka, second year, EuroLeague champion. Boom, already there.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's already played professionally. He's traveled. He's made money.
Yep.
He's won championships. He's played legitimate talent because there's NBA talent there now.
Yep.
The
He know
EuroLeague used to not be
he,
anything because there was a little bit of NBA talent, but it wasn't.
yeah. And the way he's playing or the way he plays now, you can tell that he's played professionally for a while versus playing like how you go through the college route, things like that. I feel like whenever the players come out of like that college route first, sometimes you see a little bit of immaturity with them whenever they're first in the league. With
Yeah.
Luca, you don't see that, man, because he knows what it is to be a pro. He's been a pro for
He
years now.
I do see a little bit of it though. He's still young and he still
Well,
like
yeah,
gets all
yeah, I mean,
emotional and
for sure, for sure. I'll
but
give you that.
but like I
But
think that
I'm
if
more
you
so
get
talking about like off court actions.
I think if you get rid of the one and dones and let them go and fucking be Euro players, I think college basketball, like, it may lose its top talents, but you're not going to lose college basketball. I think you're going to get more heart in college basketball. You're going to get guys that really want to win championships, and I think it's going to be more fun to watch.
Yeah, and
Um,
then you can get into like team building at that point because dudes are gonna stay there for 3-4 years.
right, right, and
So
that's the thing is like, and if they're
recruiting becomes a lot more fun. I feel like
well, and I know like the Dukes and the Kentuckys, they may take a hit, but they're still going to get perennial players that want to get a college education,
yeah,
and March Madness is not going away. I love March Madness,
yeah,
um, and I think that regardless of if you have the Zion, the Zions, the those guys of the world, regardless, I think you're still going to get quality basketball in the playoffs because of the way the tournament is set up. It's set
yeah.
up to have these upsets and these different players, and then I think the playing field's evened a little bit, not a lot,
Hmm.
because Duke and Kentucky and Kansas are still going to get the top players. North Carolina, got to throw a shout out North Carolina,
Yeah,
but those guys.
they won't be
I
as stacked as they normally are though.
no, but I
Which,
think
like you
it'll.
said, evens it out a little bit, which would be cool.
Yeah, and I think you just get back to the heart of basketball. Those guys are there to play basketball, to have fun and enjoy the sport, but also go to school and get an education.
Yeah,
And don't get me wrong, there'll still be players that'll go for a year and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm good enough to go play in the league," and that's fine. But they're not like going in the mindset when they get there to do one and done. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Those guys are going to go straight to the NBA. And even when they had the rule where you could go from high school, college basketball was still awesome. I mean, you had
Hmm.
Kobe was from high school, LeBron James high school, you know, um,
You're like
Kevin Garnett,
you're
like
once or twice in a generation players go
yeah.
straight from high school,
And if they were
but like
smart,
everybody else, just go and
yeah.
stay.
I mean, if they were smart, they would, especially if they like. I think you get a really good basketball player that develops through the years. That he plays 4 years at college and then he goes in the NBA and he becomes a good player. Like a player that I always think of is JJ Redick. He did 4 years. He was an NBA like top player in the league, and he wasn't as dynamic as he was in college in the NBA, but he kind of honed his own skills and became an expert. He
Hmm.
became a sharpshooter where he could score 20 points a game at will, and he's lasted. He's been in the league for 10 plus years now, and I think that comes from maturity from college basketball, and being under a really good coach like Coach K.
Yeah.
And I
Hell,
think
even
that
MJ went 3 years in college.
yeah, and I think did MJ he ended up getting his degree though, didn't he? I
I'm
think
not
he
too sure
did.
about that.
I'm not
I'll
sure.
look.
I'd have to look that up, but not too worried about that. But like I don't know, man. It's interesting, and I think football does it. I think football does it right. At the same time, though, it's like, do we give the players the freedom to go to the NFL? But at the same time, the culture of the NFL players, they're a little more crazy than the NBA players are.
Yeah,
And you put an 18-year-old in that environment, it'll get wild.
yeah. I don't know if I think that football you should go straight from high school because just think about this. So you've seen the dudes that that we went to high school. You may have had some guys that you went to high school with that went on to play college football.
Yep.
How much bigger did those dudes get between just in a couple years?
Yeah, just naturally.
Dude, if you put them on an NFL team though for that first year, they're still gonna get big like that. Don't get me wrong, but those first couple years, they're gonna get the shit kicked out of them
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you're gonna be playing with some dudes that are 28, 29 years old that have been you know on these crazy workout plans, diet plans to get just as strong and fast as possible
Yeah.
for
Right.
and they've been doing it now for 6 years versus you're 18, you just came out of it, you
Or
hell you still may hit a growth spurt at 18.
yeah, you may be a completely different player by the end of it,
Yeah,
you
like
know.
it's just so
But
yeah, I don't know if
but
you
you
can.
could but you could
I feel like
avoid
it's dangerous to put some 18-year-olds on a team with them, not for the crazy part like you're talking about, but also just I don't know, man. I could see now. Obviously, you get some monsters that come out of high school too, but it's just
well with that being said, speaking of like college players, a little bit of fantasy here. Joe Burrow kind of kicked some butt. I mean, with what with the tools he was given, he's going into battle with a dull sword and a
Yeah.
faulty
A
gun.
plastic shield.
Yeah, but he balled out, man. I think he threw 61 times.
Mhm.
He's got some good receivers though. Tyler Boyd and AJ Green and um, his tight end target. I can't even say his name, but his tight end target got hurt. But he likes
Yeah.
to throw to the tight ends, and in a matter of 2.5 quarters, his backup tight end got 11 fantasy points for PPR leagues. He had 7 receptions, 50 yards. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, dude, Joe Burrow absolutely murdered it tonight. His performance, dude, his defense got to get him a win. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Got to
yeah,
get your rookie quarterback a win, man. He
yeah.
he he threw for 316 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had one fumble, but let's face it, his fumble was caused by the fact that his O line left him out to dry. Miles Garrett slaps his arm, and then I don't know who the other player was that actually hit him, but he got drilled on that one.
he
He got
he
up, kept trooping though, but yeah, man, dude, that D line was wearing out the O line
his
of
his O
Cincinnati,
line
and he
looks
was still
like
killing it.
his O line looks like Moses getting the Israelites out of Egypt. Crossing the Red Sea is like wide open. Like
Yeah,
legit.
they've got to figure something out to get him a little bit better protection. You got your franchise quarterback right there, and he's getting dropped throughout the game. Um, and the fact that his 316 yards, I'm impressed with, but at the same time, he did throw 60 times.
Yeah.
Um, so it's
But
one of
but no,
those,
but zero interceptions.
yeah, 60 times, no picks. I mean, that's
It's pretty good.
pretty good, pretty good. But I mean, if he gets better protection, if he gets better protection and throws 60 times, I wouldn't be surprised if he clears 400 yards.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
he gets
and
time to actually sit there and be comfortable, because the entire game he wasn't comfortable, and he still managed to lead his team to scoring
well,
30 points.
he came out firing at the beginning too. Like he was balling out, and then Baker Mayfield on the flip side, Baker kind of came into his own. Now, obviously, the Bengals defense wasn't great. I mean, they ran 200 plus yards on him,
Yeah,
on them, but uh, Baker was playing. Everybody's talking crap to him. He finally connected with Odell a couple times, and
yeah,
that got Odell a touchdown. And the running game set that up. So if they can keep that two-headed monster, which I think they have the best two-back system in the league. I can't think of anybody else that has two backs that are that good.
100%. And
Um,
they got a steal on that with Kareem Hunt because
because of all his
due
craziness.
due to him, screwing up like what we had talked about last week. And remember last week I had mentioned that I was like, man, I think he's gonna be like good pickup.
Yep.
And dude, sure enough, I had him started this week. He got me 86
It,
yards rushing, 2 total touchdowns. And what he really helps if you're in a PPR league because he gets a lot of receiving.
backfield
Yeah, yeah.
catches
He had
and
he had 2 catches for 15 today as well.
but and the
And a
two back
touchdown.
system always scares me for fantasy wise because
Yeah,
you're like, man, I
it's
don't know. And
high risk, high reward. If you've got the second back, if you got the first back, you're always gonna be good.
so
Like
with
if you
that,
got Chubb, you're gonna be straight every week.
with that, I took an L last week by 3 points in our Sigma Chi fantasy league.
Yeah.
Um, I talked about Robbie Anderson being a sleeper pick, and I think he's going to do awesome. And I didn't even start him, and he ended up balling out in the PPR league we have. He scored 26 points, 115 receiving yards, 6 receptions, a touchdown. They targeted him 8 times.
Yep.
He killed it, man.
And who knew Noah Fant would outscore George Kittle?
Yeah. That's terrible. And he's my backup tight end. Like, come on,
Yeah.
man.
You called him too though last
Yeah,
week. You said
yeah.
it, like you had mentioned Noah Fant, a good tight end, per se, like that.
Backup.
Yeah, that is good to have on your bench there per se. But
Well,
yeah,
and I always look at these young guys, and they always use those tight ends to the fullest.
yeah,
You know, Noah Fant, he can stretch the defense out. He's a big guy. He can catch. And Drew Lock is still a young dude. I don't see him making a lot of deep passes. So I was like, they're going to throw underneath a lot. And the
Mm-hmm.
first week of the season, um, you know, Denver's playing Tennessee. Tennessee's got a good defense, so they're going to be, those corners are pretty good. They're gonna cover their corners really well. They're going to cover the outside really well. AJ Brown, or not AJ Brown, I'm sorry, Cortland Sutton, um, whoever the hell else they have. Noah Fant was. It just made sense,
Jerry Judy.
And Jerry
Judy,
Judy,
yeah, he got in a little bit more than I
yeah,
was thinking he would. He got 10
yeah.
points in our
He
fantasy
dropped a
league.
couple passes too,
Yeah,
some
he
easy
hauls
ones.
those in. He's a 15 to 20
I
point
never
game
saw
last
him
week.
as a guy that dropped passes a lot, but I
Yeah,
never paid attention that much either
he's
to him.
nervous around the big boys right now. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah, a little scared.
Yeah.
An interesting one for me this week. I don't know yet because he hasn't shown me anything. He was a
Mm-hmm.
he was a awesome in college. Was Mike Williams? He plays for the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
I see them doubling Keenan Allen like they did last week, so they bottled Keenan Allen up.
Yeah.
And Mike Williams is back from being hurt, all last season practically. If they get him in the red zone, that dude can go after the ball. When he played for Clemson, he was unstoppable. Um, I'd love to see him kick some butt this week. I don't know if he will, but I'd like to see him do well. Um,
Yeah.
I lost AJ Brown on my starting lineup. He's hurt. Sounds like it'll be a game time decision. AJ Brown plays for the Titans. He's a really good receiver, but I think that's going to hurt. If he doesn't play, that's going to hurt Corey Davis's stock. And everybody looks at it like, oh, that should give Corey Davis more targets. Yeah, that makes sense. But you think about it, AJ Brown takes a lot of the attention, and that's why Corey Davis played so well because AJ Brown is they center around him during him and Derrick Henry, obviously. But if Tennessee can't get the run game going, it looks tough for them, man. I don't see them doing very much. Well, Jacksonville's not great either, but it doesn't look great for if you decide to put Corey Davis in your starting lineup this week. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and another one I really liked last week, and I think I mentioned him a little bit, but probably not enough. Was that Raheem Mostert
Yep.
plays for the San Francisco 49ers.
Running back, y'all.
Last week, man, listen to this stat line. Okay, 15 carries, 56 yards. Sounds right. Sounds that's about four ish yards a carry. 4 receptions for 95 yards and a touchdown receiving. Think about that on the PPR
You
league.
said 4 receptions for how many yards?
95 yards receiving.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Damn, each of those were breaking.
Yeah, yeah.
Dang.
So he had about 150 yards of total offense and a touchdown. Ended up with 24 fantasy points. He's projected 14 this week. I like him. I like him a lot because they're using him out of the backfield, and he's going to get catches. Regardless of yards, he's going to get his catches, and he's going to run the ball. So, I mean, I like that a lot,
Yeah.
They have him. So if you look at projections, I always look at these projections and kind of laugh because
Yeah.
they're
I feel like
projecting
they're
him.
off-base a lot.
Well, they're projecting him to run better. They're projecting him 16 carries, 73 yards, and one reception for 11 yards. What changed from last week? He almost had 100 yards receiving. Sometimes these projections, I'm like, I don't know what is in y'all's brains. But I mean, they're playing the Jets. You're telling me that the Jets are going to cover him better than the Cardinals did last week? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. So
Yeah, I can tell you, dude. Pick for me this week that I really like. If you are in the same position I am, and you have Michael Thomas, he's out with a high ankle sprain from last week. Kamara came down on the back of his leg or something like that, and he got a high ankle sprain. They said he'll be out for probably a couple weeks.
Yep.
Somebody I picked up. I definitely like his matchup this week too. Traquan Smith, he's supposedly supposed to be getting a little bit more work this week since Michael Thomas is going to be out, and it's a good matchup with the Raiders.
I like it.
If you want to go off their projections, he's projected at 10 points. I'll be I'll be pleased if he gets 10 points. That's cool with me. Man, the one thing I am worried about for this week, I got Mike Evans again. He's coming up questionable. I feel like he's going to be a game time decision again this week, like he was last week. The only thing that saved him last week was his one
Touchdown.
touchdown. Yeah, he had one catch for 2 yards and a touchdown. I'm nervous about playing him again this week, but I'm
That's our
trying to
A&M
figure.
boy, man.
Yeah,
What's
I
up
just
with him?
man, dude,
Hamstring.
what's up with the whole team, man? Like, this
I
whole hype. Everybody lost the energy
I
for Tampa
told you.
Bay.
I told you,
Everybody,
man.
it was hype again, hype again.
We remember we talked
So
about it
they
earlier in
always
this.
hype up people like this. Last year, it was the Baker Mayfield, and the fucked up thing is I buy into it
Yeah,
every time,
you
every
do.
time,
You're
every
you're
time.
you're you're talking about them being like conference. We'll see. It's game one. Like
Yeah,
the first season, they didn't have a
no, season's over.
they did
Season's
they didn't
over
they
for
didn't have
Tampa
pre
Bay.
they didn't have preseason. I just didn't see them as being like it was the same, almost the exact same thing as Cleveland.
Hmm.
They were talking about were skill positions. Last thing I remember is you win the game of football in the trenches, the O line and the D line. I didn't hear anything about the O line or the D line. Now the D line for the Buccaneers is really young
Yeah.
and coming up, and I think they're going to be good. I just don't see like it, you better sure as hell hope you develop a young quarterback for that team. You got rid of your youth with Jameis Winston, um, and New Orleans may have stolen that one. If they decide to keep Jameis Winston and let him learn how to really play football under Drew Brees,
Hmm.
he could end up being a perennial All Star because like he has it. He has it. He just can't. He throws too many interceptions, and that's
Hmm.
one thing that Drew Brees does well is he doesn't turn the ball over.
Now, is this a little bit to do with him playing with Bruce Arians? I was seeing what they were talking about the other day is he has coached with I believe with Peyton Manning at the Colts when he had his career high interceptions. Jameis Winston career high interceptions, and they were listing a number of quarterbacks. I can't remember who all of them were, but apparently he's got a history of like having quarterbacks with career high interceptions. I don't know if that's maybe because he's got like maybe an aggressive style of play on offense. I
Yeah,
don't
it's like
know.
just throw it deep, and then Tom Brady had a lot of interceptions last week.
Correct. Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's what they're saying. Like, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I don't. We'll see if they, like you said, it's only week one, so we'll see um, about them. I will say another picks that I like for this week, dude. Um, any Green Bay receiver that you got, play him because Aaron Rodgers, dude, looked like he is back to his old self after last weekend.
yeah,
Dude, he spread the ball around pretty much everywhere. Um, Devontae Adams in our league had like 42 points.
yeah.
Um,
He helped me out a lot.
yep, and then my boy Lazard came through. He had 19 points for me last week, and then even Valdez Scantling got involved too. Um, my dad left those points on the bench. He had him on his bench. I think he had like another like 15 points or something like that from him. So I like any of those three receivers if you've got them. I think they're a good start again this week because the Packers got Detroit.
Yeah,
Um,
Detroit's weak.
it's got yeah, very much so. Um, but yeah, if you've got any Atlanta receivers, I think that's going to be a good play for you. Um, the Cowboys didn't look that great last week on defense, so I know that some of the Atlanta receivers went off last week. I think Calvin Ridley had 30 points or something like that. I
Yeah,
like that play again this week too
yeah.
against the Cowboys.
I think the Cowboys. Robert Woods did really good last week against the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Remember this: the Cowboys only lost by 3 points, and the Rams only scored 20 points. The Rams are supposed to be
Sure.
a high-scoring offense, so
Yeah.
um, now the Falcons are a different beast, but I think the Cowboys defense will play better this next week. They lost Leighton Vander Esch,
Yeah.
but I think they kind of know where they're at now. I think they really just needed a tune-up game at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Um,
I think they're gonna need to find a way to shut down the run too. They allowed Malcolm Brown to go for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
uh,
That's the thing is like, um,
so
they
if they're not stopping the run this week, then they're gonna start biting on it. Then you're gonna
well
start seeing
the
Todd Gurley's
Rams
gonna
can.
have a good game, and
So the Rams
then
controlled
that's
the
open and pass
offense.
it.
They controlled the time of possession last week.
Hundred
In the
percent.
first half, I think the Rams had the ball like 3-1 to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys were still in the game. So I think the Cowboys are playing that old bullshit where they're bending but not breaking. And I think we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. But if they can get the ball and hold the ball early, hand the ball off to Zeke, let their defense rest. I don't see the offense. I don't see the defense playing as bad. As long as they're off the field. If they're on the field a lot, I look for a big game from Julio Jones. Look for a big game from Calvin Ridley. But the Cowboys typically get killed by the tight ends, and they don't have a
Yeah.
very good tight end. So Austin
I'm
Hooper's
curious to
gone.
see if they still involve CD Lamb as much as they did last week. He had 59 yards receiving. He didn't find the end zone. If he finds the end zone and has that same production, he's gonna have a good week for me.
I say feed
I'm
Zeke, man.
Yes. And speaking of which, have you seen everybody like going crazy about his tattoo that he got on his
Yeah, it
stomach?
says "feed me" on his belly.
Yeah, you can barely tell what it says though. Like it's so
Yeah,
like stretched out and like he's
yeah,
got like some blur around it that makes it
yeah,
look bad. But
yeah,
yeah, he looks like, I will say though, he looks like he took this offseason serious. He looks good.
yeah.
Look
I
like,
mean, no distractions, right? You can't really go anywhere.
yeah, he still managed to, but yeah.
But I mean, house parties, but he's not going out to the
Yeah.
bars and stuff,
Correct.
So
Yeah, no, man. I like the matchup this week. I think the Cowboys are gonna have a tough game against them because they're playing against the Falcons, who I think they've got a good enough offense to give the Cowboys a little bit fits this weekend. And with the Cowboys still adjusting to the new coaching staff, I'm gonna be honest. I can see the Cowboys being 0-2 after this weekend playing against Atlanta, which I, it's losing to Atlanta, I don't think is a good loss though. So hopefully, the Cowboys will pull it out. But
did you see the course that I had on there? That was pretty fun, huh? The one I made, the last one.
is that the last one we just played?
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that one.
pretty fun.
I like that one.
It wasn't too bad.
I think that, yeah, dude. I was like on a couple of those holes, I was able to drive the green though,
Yeah, I know. I need
which
to
was,
stretch it out.
I'm not complaining about that level, man. Makes me feel like a badass.
I don't like playing on the harder level. It's not as fun.
Yeah, I learned that too. I had upped the difficulty on my society to pro, and so I'm gonna change it after this tournament that's going on right now that nobody's played in besides me,
Yeah.
and
I
I'm gonna
played
change
it
it
and
back
I
down.
quit.
Yeah, but I think Hunter played it for a minute. And I think he shot even,
Yeah.
but I don't know how he managed to shoot even. Shit was hard. I think I'm at like plus 24
Yeah,
through 2 or 3 rounds.
it's not.
It's
very
frustrating.
fun.
Like, yeah, I'm not gonna finish it. I think that round's over tonight. I'm gonna change the difficulty at some point.
This is too
I gotta get a new
difficult.
fucking controller though. My fucking joystick's fucking up. Like, I was so frustrated with it last night because I was trying to play, and it kept when I'd pull back, like my guy would do like the Charles Barkley. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I was like, God damn it! And so it would fuck me up. Like I'd be putting, and like I would think it's doing it, and then next thing you know, it'd pull it all the way back. And on like the super short putts where you should make it every time, it'd fuck me up because it would
What
like
if you
I'd
switch
try
the
and pull back, try and
joystick?
pull back. I tried switching to the left one, dude. It feels weird, but I'm probably about to. I'm probably about to be honest, because I want to play still, but
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I was pulling it back and it would finally go, so I'd put way too much fucking power on it and like
Yeah.
it I'd be missing like 4-foot putts. I was like, fuck this, I quit. Like, turn that shit off and went to bed.
All
But
right.
anyways, but yeah, no, regarding the Cowboys, man, dude, I think they could very well be 0-2 at the end of this weekend. Potentially. I mean, but I feel like
Don't
everybody's
do
gonna
that to
potentially
me,
lose each
Dylan.
week. Dude, they're
Makes
gonna lose, man. Just go ahead and chuck it up. I'm gonna put in the call now. Cowboys gonna lose this weekend. It's gonna be 0-2. Philly
Yeah.
is gonna probably lose to the Rams,
Mm,
but Philly's gonna win y'all's division again this year.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be between. I could see, I could see Washington and Dallas battling at the end. I think Dallas is going to end up 9-7, and then I think Philly's going to be like.
I
I
don't
think.
see Washington being anywhere close in y'all's race, man.
I
Well,
could see
no,
it.
they did. Well, no, they did come back and beat the Eagles
Hmm.
last week. Yeah.
I could see the Eagles being like 7-9, 6-10, and then the Giants. I think they're going to go.
Yeah.
They're going to have a rough season. They didn't look
Yeah.
good at all. The last game they played, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley wasn't even involved in the offense, and that's typical of Jason Garrett.
Yeah. I don't think Daniel Jones is the answer either out there.
Yeah, I know, and they think he is.
Dude, who did they pass up on to get him? Oh shit, they passed up on some really good ones. Who was
Can't be
part of
as
that?
bad as the Bears passing up on Patrick Mahomes for Mitchell Trubisky, though.
Yep, they passed up Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson
Yeah,
for Mitchell Trubisky.
yeah, that's
Both of
crazy.
them.
That's crazy.
Whoever made that decision, I hope they're fired. Well, as a Packers fan, I hope they're not fired. But if like they should be fired, if not already, that is the worst decision ever. How do you pass those two up?
Like Patrick Mahomes is like the perfect mix of like an Aaron Rodgers and a Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's like that level.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he's got a freaking rocket attached to his shoulder.
And he hasn't,
Like,
it's not like he was bad in college. Like he was a beast in college.
yeah,
It doesn't make sense.
he's the reason why Baker went to OU
Yeah.
because Baker couldn't win the starting job over him.
You know what I love? I love seeing Kyler Murray run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He's good.
Yep.
He's good. Hometown hero right there.
Yeah. From the A-Town, Allen.
Yeah.
Yep.
But,
Yep.
yeah, I think this season's going to be interesting. Obviously it's already started, but like, just like the whole dynamic is different this year.
Yeah. And even with even San Francisco, like they lost this first week too to Arizona, and which by the way, DeAndre Hopkins looked absolutely phenomenal with Arizona. He has adjusted perfectly fine there. It looks like
They call him Nuke.
I think so, something like that. But
he I think next week's going to be or this weekend's going to be interesting for the Dallas game. I'll go back to Dallas real quick.
mm-hmm.
They're going to have fans in the stadium. There's going to be 20,000
Oh, that's
fans.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I believe it's what 25% capacity.
Yeah, and
I feel like at that point they just need to let the whole stadium fill up because 25% capacity. You just said that's still 20,000 people.
Yeah.
Like at that point, 20,000 people just open the whole thing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what's another 60,000 people when you got 20,000 people there?
So there's a Dallas Cowboys reporter named Jane Slater,
and
she always breaks all the news on Cowboy stuff. And she was talking about how the stadium, how it sounds inside the stadium when they do artificial noise. And she said it's terrible. She said it's like really hard to hear anything, and not like in a good way, but like your music's too loud type of way.
It's like a sound clash type deal. Like when you got the TV on and fucking
they couldn't
2
hear the
Chainz
refs.
wants to play the radio or some shit, and you know,
but
that.
You can't even hear the refs because it's the same. It's electronics. It's electronic. You know, the microphone or whatever. So
it's just not natural. It doesn't feel right. Doesn't sound right. And like even in the MLB, they said things about it. They had Joey Gallo mic'd up, and Elvis Andrews was like, what did he say? He goes, that's way too loud, talking about the crowd noise.
Yeah.
Like it's not even normal to him. So it's like
it's not authentic noise. And so I think having even hearing like today here and she was like, it sounds okay on the on TV, right? So but I think even today watching the Browns and Bengals, they had fans in the stadium. And it was kind of weird because it sounded a little bit like an empty stadium, but they were still talking in natural sounds, and
Yeah.
it was pretty cool. Like they inducted Joe Buck into the into the Hall of Fame or whatever for being newscaster, not newscaster. I'm sorry, sports play-by-play announcer. He got
He's
the
officially the most hated person in the Hall of Fame now.
yeah. Yeah, it was just super cool though, just to see like his tenure. Like he was like the youngest guy ever to do like a play by play, and then he, he followed in his dad's footsteps in the NFL, and then he also has done 25 years in the MLB. I don't hate him nearly as much when he calls MLB games, but
Yeah, I agree.
whenever him and Troy Aikman get on the mic, I just get annoyed.
Yeah.
And they don't even compare to Tony Romo and Jim Nance. Like,
Dude,
uh,
Romo's gonna go down as one of the best play-by-play announcers ever, man. Dude, as long as he sticks with it, which I
yeah,
don't think he has any plans on
well,
not
he's the
doing that.
highest paid TV play-by-play person like ever.
He, I think when it's all said and done, I think he'll be more known for his broadcasting ability.
Uh, not in
But you
Dallas
think about it. Well, yeah, not in Dallas, of course. But
because
you think about it,
he was a
because
hell
he's
of a
probably gonna,
quarterback.
because he's what right now he's in his 40s, right?
Late 30s probably,
Late 30s, 40s. So
early 40s.
he'll
Yeah.
probably broadcast for 15, 20 years. That's enough for him to build up a
Well,
good resume when it's all said
how
and
old
done.
was John Madden before he retired?
Yeah, that's true. That some of them don't ever retire because they enjoy doing it so much, man.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, I can't blame them. You can pay me 7 figures to sit there and call NFL football games. I'll do that
Tony
shit.
Romo's actually 40. He just turned 40. John Madden. So John Madden's 84 years old.
Damn,
Um,
Tom Brady's older than Tony Romo by a
so
lot.
John Madden retired. John Madden retired from the NFL in 1958,
Jesus.
and he retired from the booth in 2009. Think about that. That's 11 years ago. He was 69 years old when he retired from the booth,
69.
and by that time he was by that time he was like saying some crazy shit. Like he was like writing on the the electronic the plays and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is he talking
He
about?
was like the mad scientist.
Like the John Gruden. John Gruden was the same way. I was like, man, what are they? What is he saying?
Like,
The Y
what
two
is
split
going on
banana.
right
Like
now?
that's nothing.
Yeah, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Anyways, like we're heading into the second week of the season. What games stand out to you this weekend?
So, not to be like biased or whatever, but I really do like I think the Falcons Cowboys game is gonna have a lot of offense. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I
Um,
foresee a shootout there.
yeah, I let me pull up the schedule real quick and just I'm gonna go through it real quick.
Yeah, no,
So Cowboys Falcons obviously. Um, I like let me go to this. There's not a lot of good games. New England Seattle will be a good game. I think. I think that'll be your
hmm
top game of the week. Honestly,
I'm excited for this Ravens Texans game.
Ravens Texans. That could be
I think
good.
that's going to be the game of the week, man.
I like the. Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be, and
It has the
that's
potential for it. I don't know if it will be. It depends on what Houston team we get this weekend.
yeah. They're like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde out there.
Yeah, I know that we're obviously going to get probably a good performance from the Ravens side. Lamar's probably going to show out, and then, but on the other side, you got the Texans, and I'm curious. I mean, the Ravens did just give 30 points up to the Browns last week, so I'm curious on how well Deshaun Watson will play this weekend. I think we're in for a good game on that one though.
So I like the New England Seattle though. That'll be a night game.
Yeah, Cam against
Rust.
Russ. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
both
that's
teams
gonna be a
playing
good game.
well. You
Yeah,
know,
both teams have decent offenses, not very good defenses. Could
no,
be a
New England's got a good defense. New
oh,
England
do
is
they?
they were the top defense last year in the league.
Well, I retract my statement then.
This year, yeah, if you would have stolen, dude, last week like they scored me a ton of fantasy points on New England's defense, but
Oh, that's right. Last year
mm,
they were dropping like 40 points in
yeah,
fantasy on
yeah,
people,
yep,
like consistently.
yep. they get guys to do their job, man. That's at the end of the day, and if Cam plays well, and I mean they looked like a new look New England Patriots. It was weird not seeing Tom Brady out there, but I could
Yeah,
see New England playing really well this season.
yeah.
They
I
got a
think they're
tough
going to give the
road,
Bills
but
a run for their money on the division, but
yeah,
I still think I still see the Bills coming out on top. I just think they got way too much talent to not win the division. But
man.
I think that the Patriots are going to squeeze in with a wild card.
I like the way the Bills look. I think they've built
Mm-hmm.
a really good team. They have a
Yep.
stout defense. Stephon Diggs added to that roster is huge. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you
And they're
know,
just going to keep adding pieces over time too.
John
That's the thing with
John
them.
Brown's playing well. They got Cole Beasley out there. Stephon Diggs. They picked up or they drafted a running back. They got Singletary still. Josh
Mm-hmm.
Allen, if he can stop fumbling the ball, doing dumb things. Um, I think they're good. Where New
Yep.
England has the upper edge though is coaching, and
Oh,
then their
100%.
defense. Their defense is really good. And having Cam, people forget that in 2016 Cam won the MVP.
Yep. Not very long ago.
And
The only thing that's been holding him back, man, is
it's
injuries. So
injuries, yeah.
he stays healthy, man. I'm sure they'll be just fine
And
with him.
and to be fair, like even then, like the Panthers, they won. They went to the Super Bowl, but they didn't have a lot of like high end talent. They had Greg Olson, who was still young, and I don't even think Christian McCaffrey was there yet.
Uh, was he not on that team?
I don't think he was. If he was, he was a rookie.
Let's see. Oh shit! Don't ever just Google Christian McCaffrey by itself. First thing you'll get is his GQ photo shoot pictures.
Yeah, yeah. So Christian McCaffrey got
Damn
drafted in
pervs.
2017.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. So he
when
was
did
on
the
that team. He
Panthers
was.
go to the
Think about that. He got drafted 2017, so that means that he was the piece they were trying to add to finish off that Super Bowl run.
to win the Super
If
Bowl?
if Cam would
Well,
have
so that
probably
was the
stayed
next year. So
healthy, I
Cam
bet you
went
they
to
would have kept.
Cam went they went to they went to the Super Bowl in 2015 or 2016-2015 season.
Mm-hmm.
So they drafted Christian McCaffrey not that season but the next season.
Yep.
So the whole year later, and what a draft pick, right? Christian McCaffrey,
Yep.
man, he's just incredible.
The Bears could have had him too. Instead, they got Mitchell Trubisky. These are all the players that
Yeah,
they passed up on to get Mitchell Trubisky. They took him number 2. They
yeah,
passed up on Solomon Thomas. They passed up on Leonard Fournette.
that's not that big a deal.
Nah, not anymore.
he
But
got cut.
he was good for a little bit. But
Yeah,
Christian McCaffrey, they passed up on. Patrick Mahomes was the 10th pick.
yeah,
Jesus. They passed up on Deshaun Watson.
yep. Who was the
That's
first? Who was the first pick that season?
Miles Garrett.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a good pick.
Yeah, that one was a given. Everybody knew that was coming from the Browns. Well, actually, no. Everybody thought the Browns were going to take another QB again because that was shortly after the Manziel
Yeah,
experiment.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Damn, what a
But
sad day.
yeah, R.I.P. Johnny Football.
Yeah,
R.I.P. Dog.
yeah,
R.I.P. But yeah, man. I'm looking forward to this weekend of football because the fact that I think my Packers got a good game
yeah,
matchup. We should win, so I'm excited to watch them. Like you said, the Cowboys game should be good. I'm excited to watch them. I'm definitely excited for that Baltimore and Houston game, though. I think that's
yeah,
going to be good.
yeah,
Other than that, though, I think it's going to be a fairly boring weekend of NFL football, like matchup wise, at least. But sometimes these are the weekends that surprise you the most, though.
yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
so
It's the NFL for a reason. We always think these cupcake teams are gonna get rolled, and they
yeah.
might, but it's any
Yeah.
given Sunday, right?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you got the best of the best playing in that league. Like you said, any given Sunday, anybody can come out. Just one team could not be feeling it, other team just in that groove. You never know. So,
Boom.
but yeah, all right. Well, make your picks. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those places. If you're playing PGA 2K21, the BS Academy. Send us a request about society. Later, guys.